Now, please let me welcome our next speaker, Jason Kibbey, Chief Executive Officer of Higg United States of America, who will provide us a better understanding on the functioning of Higg Facility Tools to measure environmental and social sustainability impacts in manufacturing facilities.
Thank you. Sorry to be here between you and lunch, so I hope this will be fairly quick, but want to introduce you to our Higg tools. My name is Jason Kibbey, and I am the CEO of Higg. We are a new spin-out of the Sustainable Apparel Coalition. So just to provide a little bit of context, 10 years ago, this was some of the issues that we were looking at with the Greenpeace Detox campaign that actually launched at ITMA about 10 years ago, really looking at the challenges of wastewater pollution in the textile industry. Now, we see these challenges in our industry really widespread, touching air, touching water, touching nearly every impact area. But the Rana Plaza impact and the challenges that we saw coming out of terrible shortcomings in worker safety and actually creating healthy and even decently safe places for workers, that catalyzed the industry to work together. And we came together with the idea that the current audit model of just trying to pass or fail really was failing. It was not actually helping lead the industry to a better place in terms of social and environmental impact. And so back in 2009, Walmart and Patagonia had an idea, was how do you bring together the industry to actually create something that measures the whole industry so that we can actually leapfrog? And at that point, we were really a laggard, and how can we go much further? And so they formed the beginning of the Sustainable Apparel Coalition. And the Sustainable Apparel Coalition's vision is to create an apparel, footwear, and textile industry that produces no unnecessary environmental harm and actually improves the communities where it operates. So our theory of change is to do this through measurement and creating a shared vision of measurement throughout the value chain that not only creates areas where we need to work immediately to fix them, but to actually produce opportunities for innovation. So the coalition came together as a group of brands, retailers, manufacturers, industry associations, governments, and nonprofits, really the industry and its stakeholders working together to create this common vision and make it real. Currently, we have a really wide variety of brands and retailers. Every brand and retailer above $10 billion in sales is a member of the Sustainable Apparel Coalition and is working together on this common vision through the use of the Higg Index. But we also work with many manufacturers, probably some of you in this room, and machine manufacturers, chemistry companies, others, all working on this common vision. But it also needs to include NGOs, governments, industry associations. We really need to see a common vision for measurement across the entire industry. So that common vision came together in the form of the Higg Index. And it is a suite of tools that measures every impact category at every phase of production and design. So we start with the product tools that measure materials, and we also have tools that are for designers and developers that actually help them predict the impact of a product. Ultimately, we've got actually a life cycle assessment tool that's going to be coming out next year. We also have facilities tools, which I'm going to be talking a little bit more both from the environmental perspective and also the social perspective. And then finally, we have brand and retail tools that actually measure the impact of brands and retailers. This holistic perspective gives really the entire view of how do you measure the impact of products in our industry. So I want to talk a little bit more about the Higg Facilities Assessment. There are really two. There's an environmental module, many of you are probably familiar with it, and a social and labor module. And we look across all impact and categories in both social and environmental impact. So our facility module is out and it's being used right now. It's in 7 different languages. We're looking to expand that right now. We work with ZDHC on chemicals assessment and aligns. And we really try to tailor the tool so that depending on what type of facility you are, you get actually a different version of the tool. So if you're a mill, you'll have different questions than if you're a cut and sew. All of this is to try to actually increase improvement and to actually make your facility better. We put guidance on howtohigg.org, so you can actually learn about that. That is free and open to anyone. And these assessments can be verified by third parties. So what this does is it actually tries to sort the facilities into different levels. We have our level 1 is really a basic understanding of sustainability, awareness, and understanding. And that's really the beginning. That's where you start, where every facility starts. And then level 2 is where the facility is actually starting to make goals and manage its progress. Level 3, especially for those of you that are machine makers and that are providing technology to facilities, this is where we really see a lot of movement. This is looking at leading practices, and a lot of that is actually through leading capital investments in plants, property, and equipment that reduce environmental impact, improve energy efficiency, improve water efficiency, reduce chemical use. And so we really want to range this whole span from kind of basic awareness and understanding and compliance all the way through to leading edge innovation. And what we find is that the facilities that use these tools actually get better every year. We are seeing that those that in every impact category, those that use the tools improve. And this is what we're trying to change. We want to have a system in the apparel industry where every facility is getting better and not just complying and not just sitting still. So we also see that every year that we get better, we see more and more facilities using them. So right now, it is being used in about 11,000 facilities across the world. The biggest impact is in China and Vietnam and Bangladesh and India. Great, and so right now, this is expanding very significantly. We're seeing about 11,000 in the current system that's coming out right now. We also have integrated social assessments and really worked to standardize social assessments throughout the industry. We've worked with something called the Social and Labor Convergence Project, which actually creates one set of questions. We want to eliminate the very similar but redundant audits by actually creating one set of questions that can be used across the industry. This is the converged framework. When we apply this to the Higg Index, we actually create a score. And so the SLCP is just common questions, but Higg actually applies a score to that index as well. So what we want to see is a world where we're actually reducing the redundancy of assessments, where we're seeing every facility sharing these assessments with multiple tools. And that's starting to happen. We're starting to see many of our facilities are using this with even 6 different customers. We want to see a world, though, where all of those companies that you're seeing on the slide are actually using the same assessment. So many of you maybe have, if you're a facility, you may have already used this. You can actually fill this out on higg.org. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about a new company that we've actually spun out of the Sustainable Apparel Coalition. So I am now running Higg Co., which is a new company, a public benefit company, to actually support this technology and work with the facilities, work with the brands to scale up Higg adoption and improvement. We're really focused right now, we just launched 2 months ago, on improving the technology, making sure our customers are happy, and scaling up our SAC members to use these tools in tens of thousands of facilities. And that is what we're doing in 2019. With that, I will end for questions and happy to answer anything. Thank you. And I'm happy to share these, if ITMA makes these slides available, it's fine to distribute.
Well, hello, thank you very much. I am David Tallo from Texfor, which is the main important industrial association here in Spain.
Yes.
Thank you very much, because you are doing a really good work and trying to uniformize and to create a standard for all the brands, the same
Yes.
one and so on, which is quite nice for the industrials. But in any case, I would like to know, what do you think that it's like you are always looking for Asia, which is normal because the main productions are coming from there. But here in Europe, we have like high environmental laws related with chemicals emissions, wastewater, and so on. So do you think that should be interesting for us to be in Higg Index? This is the first question. And second one, if you are not thinking into create some, I know that you have a really cool benchmark, but it should be nice to have some differentiation between the facilities, you know?
Yes.
If I have the best facility to dye, for example, denim, all the brands should be looking you like the best one to work with you.
Great questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So on your first question is, in the European context where you're already leading on sustainability, is this relevant? And we think that this is much more relevant to a compliance framework, because in compliance, you're either breaking the law, breaking the code of conduct or not. And so what we want to see is that most facilities actually perform in those first level 1 or level 2. And so if you have a leading facility, especially one that's a leading innovator, you may show up in that level 3 category, and you may have very high scores. And then I think your second question is, okay, if you're a good facility or if you're a region that is showing leadership, like in Spain, how can that be shared? So this is something that we're looking at later this year, where we are going to allow our facilities, once those facilities are verified, to be able to share their assessments. And we have already seen some of the largest retailers in the world have come to us and said, please give us the list and ranks of your facilities, and we want to do sourcing from those high-performance facilities. That is what we absolutely want to see, and we're going to see the first sharing of those scores later. And then additionally, we would also love to see competition, to see regions try to compete on sustainability. And we're already seeing this, that Sri Lanka and Vietnam are actually, they're in a race in Asia for which one has the highest average Higg scores, and they're trying to outcompete each other. And we absolutely, together with the Sustainable Apparel Coalition, want to work with countries that want to up their scores overall. So we really would like to support those countries that have leading performance, that want to use it for competitive advantage, and want to help all of their facilities improve. Does that answer your questions? Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hello. Yeah. I come from India.
Yes.
We are a manufacturer of regenerated cellulosic yarns and fabrics in a greige form. But most of our customers are all processing house. And particularly in our part of the country, we have the ZLD, zero liquid discharge. And it's very expensive, and then they are trying to compete. But whether Higg has been making this as a mandatory all over the world, because there is a lot, level playing field is not there.
The level playing field is not there. Yes.
Within country also, and also between countries. And whether the Higg has got any special score for our vendors, where they can get a prominent booking with the retailers and all the prominent visibility is there, because they are doing a great job by spending more on ZLD.
Well, zero liquid discharge, absolutely. That scores much higher on the Higg index already. So that would help differentiate you from other producers. It would reduce your or improve your wastewater scores dramatically by being a zero liquid discharge facility. And what we're trying to encourage overall is a market, so that those facilities that are scoring higher get rewarded with more business, and that's what we want to see. Until there's standardized information, until that scale is there, it's difficult to do that, but we're getting close. I mean, we're at, I think this year we're probably going to be at about 13,000 facilities. We're hoping to reach 20,000 facilities next year. And when you're reaching that kind of coverage, you really can start to have buyers use this to reward those facilities that are making investments, or reward those regions that have created regional requirements for things like zero liquid discharge. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Jason Duncan from Right Door Research. Just wanted to ask when the BRM might be coming out, an estimate.
So you're asking about the brand and retail module, and this is our ranking of brand modules overall. So that's currently in testing right now. We're hoping to, all of our tools go through a process where they are voted on by the Sustainable Apparel Coalition membership for quality, and we're looking to have a vote in the fall with a full release coming out probably at the very beginning of next year. With our hope is that we're actually going to be testing this with about 200 companies over the fall as well. We are seeing a very large number of large retailers looking to use the brand and retail assessment to assess their vendors, and we expect somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 brands to be assessed next year. Does that answer your question? Great, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kibbey.